Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illnesses to encourage you to strive, thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleone Crawford. Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illnesses to encourage you to strive, thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleone Crawford. Well, guys, today we have a special guest with us today. We have George P. Brooks with us. Who is George P. Brooks? Well, George P. Brooks is a mental health advocate, a public speaker, and writer, and CEO. George has been living with a mental illness since age 7. He has lived through abuse, weight loss surgery, childhood obesity, health issues, and addiction. George has experienced raising a son with mental illness and has lived through divorce, trauma, and custody battles. George started a nonprofit, the Metta Association, a nonprofit organization committed to advocacy and awareness for decriminalizing, and destigmatizing that which concerns mental illness. George lives with the challenges of each day and counts the strength and wisdom he gains from his journey as a blessing. He has learned and experienced a lot and is eager to inspire others. With that said, I now present to you George P. Brooks. Hi, George. How you doing?
Hello. I am truly blessed. I hope everyone listening is blessed as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, George, tell us a little bit more about your profession, what you do, and how you got started.
Well, as stated, I began to experience the symptoms and the effects of mental illness at about age 7. And through a life of much tumult, I grew to recognize my purpose, and that was to start Metta Association. And that really is what began me professionally along this path. Right now, I'm pursuing a master's degree in psychology to accompany my advocacy work to further enrich myself and to further help myself. I'm also a public speaker. I travel around. I do shows like this to speak about the realities of mental illness in the hopes of destigmatization and decriminalization, and just basically spreading awareness about what it's like for those of us living in this world, in this society, with a mental illness. I've also started a life coaching endeavor. We are targeted towards Black men. It's called Meta Mindset Mentoring and Coaching. You can visit www.metammc.com. If you're living with a mental illness or not, you can contact us, and we have a program and access to resources to help you navigate this. And of course, it can be discretionary. It can be discreet. So we do have things available. And, to answer your question, this is all kind of created this jambalaya of professionalism with me, with the nonprofit, with the public speaking, with the life coaching, and with everything else that I do, in the hopes of just improving the lives of those with mental illness so they don't have to go through the troubles and toils that I had to go through and can hopefully live a better life.
Cool, cool, awesome. All right, so with that said, we are going to move into the mental health part of this interview. Uh,
Right.
so with that said, so tell us what is your mental health diagnosis and when were you diagnosed?
My diagnosis began at age 7. My official kind of set in stone diagnosis was done at about age 25, 26. My diagnoses are bipolar 1, PTSD, and dissociative identity disorder. Bipolar disorder is categorized between extreme mood swings from extreme depression to extreme mania. It's tiring, it's exhausting, mentally and physically. With the mania, you may often get exaggerated energy levels, just basically mania. Oftentimes that's accompanied with reckless behavior and things like that. So with medication therapy and other holistic methods, I'm able to help, control my bipolar and keep it under wraps and with having a good support system. So those are my diagnoses: bipolar, PTSD, and DID. So
What is the
with the
last one?
dissociation, DID, dissociative identity disorder. What that is, that's usually predicated by childhood trauma, which I have.
Mm,
And what that is, it's sort of where, and I'll try to describe this from my perspective and clinically as well to give both sides. Clinically, it's basically your mind retreats and tries to protect itself from trauma by dissociating. And what that feels like is almost like you're floating. It's almost as though you're outside of your body experiencing things. So the way I usually deal with that, I rest. Take my medicine, which I always do. I'm a big believer in taking your medicine. People that say you don't need medicine are basically idiots to me. That doesn't make sense. So when my DID does pick up, I take the medicine, I rest, I take care of myself, and I let it pass. But
mhm.
it's a very stark feeling. Um, and they usually lets me know or it's predicated by an extreme stress or about something like that. So I just try to deal with the dissociative identity disorder as best I can. I know Herschel Walker, the famous football player, stuff lived with it as well, and there are others that live with it. But mine is unique because mine is with a cocktail of the bipolar and the PTSD, so it's been interesting.
Okay, okay, cool, cool, interesting. So, tell us about your mental health story of resilience. What did you have to go through? What did you overcome? How did you get to where you are now? Let's walk us through that whole journey.
Wow. Well, this is going to be more of a character study for me than anything because you
Mhm.
know the name of the podcast is Resilient Minds, but I think I'm more stubborn than anything else. I've lost everything and hit rock bottom 3 times a month. I'm going through something very serious right now while I'm trying to deal with my bipolar and work and do all these endeavors. I'm in what's currently called a mixed state of bipolar,
You are the
and that
you are what?
what's called a mixed state in bipolar disorder. I'm going through something right now currently to where I'm cycling heavy. And what cycling is, it's
Oh,
when you're bipolar, you may go through being manic and having extreme energy to literally feels like seconds later you're back down depressed again. So that's been going on. So in talking about being resilient, that shows my resilience right there in the fact that I'm dealing with a pretty severe, episode right now, but I manage it. I don't give up. Typically, the way I work is that if I go through something, if something occurs, if I'm sick, if I have a flare up or an exacerbation, I usually take 2 or 3 days and just kind of disappear and let myself heal and let myself rest, and then I come back swinging. And I've had to do that ever since I was 7. When you're dealing with a mental illness, especially at that age, and you're aware of it, you become resilient at a young age. You learn to institute survival techniques for yourself because you're constantly dealing with your mental illness in the background as you're trying to function. So imagine a 7-year-old who's aware that something's amiss, but trying to navigate childhood, trying to navigate adolescence. So throughout my whole life, I've been nothing but resilient. I have not, I had, I did go through a 10-year period of addiction to cocaine, but I'm resilient from that because I haven't touched it in 7 years. I've built myself up, and it's about having a sense of self worth. It's about having my faith in God. It's about having support systems in place, self care, and things that are going to support me. So you can't be resilient if you don't have anything to prove yourself, up on. We all need rungs with the ladder. And the thing is, it's just been something all my life. 2 years ago, I was homeless on the street. I tried to commit suicide, but I bounced back from it. It's just something in me that will not stay down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. This is the way it's been all my life, and it's the way it's been for much of the lives of those of us living with mental illness.
right. Okay. So my next question to you is, what did you have to do to overcome or bounce back from your low points? List all resources that were applicable.
Well, there really were no resources available, especially for Black men dealing with all the different stimuli I had going on at that time when I really decided to recover and try to heal myself. And that's why I started Metta Association, was to provide a resource. Metta Association is a nonprofit that's been open since 2018. I started as a way to promote Black male Black mental health, promote fatherhood, and fight recidivism. So that was the precipice for me kind of creating Metta. because I noticed when I tried to get help, there were no resources, there was not funding, there was no one that understood uh, what I was going through. But my main resource was myself. I had to look inward. I had to recover, not for my marriage, not for my kids, not for anything or anyone other than myself. And some people may consider that selfish, and that's okay. I like to refer to it as having self-interest. And that was my main resource. Everything that I have to have everything I ever want is in me. I just have to remember that and keep going.
Okay, okay. And what are three things you wish you had available when you were at your lowest point?
Money, uh, patience, and purpose. Money to fund the things that I needed to take care of myself. Like I said, I'm transitioning residentially. I have been residential, have experienced residential instability while still working and doing all the things I'm doing. So money is definitely a resource that's needed. Patience with myself and patience with others to see the recovery process through, because it's not easy. It's painful. It's painful for those around me, but it has to be done. And purpose. Once I realized my purpose, once I really discovered my own relationship with God, and He showed me what my purpose was, they gave me everything I needed. They gave me the road. It's a bumpy road, but it's what I needed. So the three main things that I really wished for were money, patience, and purpose.
Cool, cool. And my next question is, so what words of hope would you give to our listeners? What would you tell to someone who's been through your shoes, been through what you've gone through?
Protect yourself, protect your peace, protect your mental health. Don't be around toxic people. We already have enough on dealing with a mental illness that's a real illness that's hard to control and hard to manage. I also have chronic health issues. I have heart defects. I have type 1 diabetes since age 9. I'm on about 17 medications a day. And with dealing with all that, you have to make sure that you're not around toxicity. And just be careful of who you're around, because who you're around is who you typically embody. If you're around addicts, if you're around people that are not committed to the healing process, you can't be as well. And there's a saying: if you have one broke man in a group of 5 millionaires, you soon have 6 million. So be careful of it. Another thing is be committed to your treatment. Therapy is pretty much going to be required in order to preserve your mental stability. Your medication is going to be integral. The holistic things, the spirituality. It's a 5-tiered approach I call the 5 pillars of recovery that I developed just through my experience. So find a system that's going to work for you, and just be patient with yourself. A lot of the damage that we incur, whether it's self-inflicted or external, in living with and managing a mental illness, isn't going to be resolved or addressed or in any way alleviated in a day. It may take years. So just be patient with yourself.
Okay, that's some good advice. You also mentioned that you did suffer from addiction as well. So we
Right.
understand that mental health and addictions, like sometimes you can have like it's comorbid.
Comor- yeah, comorbidity. And it's funny this question came up because I was having a conversation with someone I love and trust very much about mental illness. And I think I didn't do a good point in articulating, didn't do a good job in articulating what I was trying to say. What I was saying was that 9 times out of 10, to me, honestly, probably 10 times out of 10, when you're bipolar, you have a vice. You have something that you're addicted to. That's just part of the mania. That's part of the drive. And mine just happened to be cocaine for about 10 years. And when I got over that, the addictive drive, that addictive thing that's in us does not go away. We just transpose it onto something else.
Mhm.
And the thing is when you have that addictive nature, especially if you're bipolar, it could be anything. It could be money. It could be shopping. It could be sex. It could be food. It could be drugs. For me, it was several things. But try to transpose that addictive nature when you're going through recovery on something that's going to be helpful and beneficial to you. It could be your spirituality. It could be your health. It could be like with me, my nonprofit, my life coaching, my purpose. So try to find something to take that, addictive energy, that drive, that hustle that you develop when you're in the midst of your sickness, and try to find a better way to apply it in a way that's going to be beneficial and
Mhm.
healthy.
Right, right. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. You know, to transfer that energy, that same and that addictive energy to something that's positive.
Right. Right, because it's not going to go away. I
Right.
mean, an addict is an addict. Once you're an addict, you're an addict. You're an addict for something. This is a matter of what, and once you recognize that and once you embrace that and you say I'm an addict, because I have no problem saying I'm an addict. I'm always gonna be. And if you're bipolar dealing with mental illness, if you're dealing with mental illness and your comorbidity is drugs or anything, you're an addict. And
Right.
saying that free and just admitting that, there's no shame in that. There's only shame in if you choose to stay in it, if you don't choose to do things to remedy yourself or heal yourself. But I wear my previous addiction as a badge of honor. And my addiction now is trying to make sure that when I leave this world, I leave it a little bit better for at least one person going through what I'm through. And that's my
Cool. Cool. All right. Awesome. So, as you can see on my screen, you'll see on the right of me, there is a book that says The Music of My Life. So that book is about my journey with mental health and music therapy. So my
mm-hmm.
question to you is, what type of music do you like?
Oh my goodness. You have asked a loaded question, young lady. I'm a lover of music. Music is therapeutic. I start my day with music. Music carries me through my day. Music carries me through my life. Um, Like I'm a huge Green Day fan. Have been a huge Green Day fan since I was about 15. And my son, my 20-year-old, he just turned 20. He's bipolar also,
Oh,
and he's a huge Green Day fan. And we just saw Green Day live here in Dallas about a couple months ago. It was a great experience. So music is huge, and I listen to everything. If you were to look at my playlist, you're likely to see country, classical. I'm a huge lover of Japanese culture, J-pop, everything. So music is such a huge part of who I am, and I always have been, especially in dealing with my mental illness.
mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a huge lover of musical therapy. I'm a huge lover of art. I'm a bohemian. I like to draw. I like to paint. I like to write. I like to be creative. So yeah, music is a huge part of my life.
Okay, interesting. So, if you were to think of a song that best describes your journey, what would it be?
Mm.
Why?
Wow, it depends. It changes depending on what I'm going through, really, because I can, you know, like my main playlist has like 900 songs on it, and each song is relevant to something I've felt or been through my life. The last song that really sticks out is Green Day released an album this past January called Saviors, and there's a song on it called Dilemma. And the
What's it
only
called?
time I ever Dilemma,
Dilemma.
Dilemma, it's off the album Saviors. And the reason that song comes to mind is because there was only one time in the past 7 years since I've been off of cocaine to where I actually thought about relapsing. And that song was heavy in my head, and it helped me keep from relapsing.
Mm,
So that's a song that really speaks to what I was going through at the time. But I mean, I could do a whole playlist. I could do 5, 6 songs right now that relate to something I'm going through.
okay.
There's a song called oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's literally what I'm going through at this moment. And but yeah, I mean, music is such a huge part of my life, and it's the sound. Music is the soundtrack to my life. So music is important because it resonates with you. It carries you through those tears. It carries you through those happy moments. And I'm so glad that you brought that question up because it's that's so integral to both me and my son and our journey with bipolar. Having that music as a way to help dull the pain, but help us not take for granted the good times that we have. So music is a huge part of my life.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, how can we stay in touch with you? What are your social media handles?
All right. Well, on Facebook, you can reach me at George P. Brooks. If you type that in Facebook, it'll come up to my profile. You can reach me at our new Meta Mindset Mentoring and Coaching site, new business we've launched. We are accepting clients. You can go to our site, you click on schedule an appointment. All our contact information is on there. It is www.mettammc.com. That's the quickest way to get in touch with me to schedule an appointment to talk. You can reach me at 214-810-6518. 24/7. If you need advocacy work, if you need an advocate or someone to help point you in the right direction, it's 214-810-6518. Or you can just reach out, any way you can. So we're available 24/7. Anything that we can do to help someone, even if it's just talking about mental illness. Sometimes talking to someone that understands can be greatly beneficial. And so I'm available. I make myself available. This is my life work. This is my purpose. I lay it all out on the line. So just reach out to me.
Awesome. Are you on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram under Metta, Metta.association. I'm going to ramp up my Instagram presence, my ex presence. I still call it Twitter. Things on TikTok. We're launching with our new site for our nonprofit Metta Association after the first of the year. And that's going to be www.mettaassociation.org.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, George, it's been a pleasure having you as a guest on our show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so transparent and sharing your story with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, and to all you resilient minds out there, until next time, please subscribe to us on all our platforms and don't forget to rate the show and leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Also, join the community of resilient minds and sign up for our monthly newsletter at onlycleone.com. Be sure to grab a copy of my book, The Music of My Life, on all Amazon marketplaces to get to know me better. If you can think of one person that will receive value from today's show or connect with George's testimonial, please share it with them. Feel free to take a screenshot of this week's episode of the podcast and tag us on Instagram. You can tag myself at Only Cleone or Resilient Minds 365 and today's guest at Metta Association. And remember, mental health is not a death sentence. Despite your illness, you can strive, thrive, and live a life of abundance. Until next time, I'm Cleone Crawford, and I'm signing off.